California federal judge will soon render a verdict which can potentially change how we download apps to our smartphones and other devices. The popular video game Fortnite was eliminated from Apple and Google's app stores last year after it tried to circumvent their business models. As a result, the game's developer, Epic Games, filed an antitrust lawsuit against Apple, arguing its app store is a monopoly. Dan Patterson has been following this case for us and is joining us now to discuss. So Dan, we talked about this leading up to the case, and now it's finally wrapping up. We're waiting to hear from the judge. 3-week-long trial. It is over. What were the main arguments from Epic, and how did Apple defend itself?
Yeah, hi, Anne-Marie. So this was a fascinating case that has the potential to impact literally billions of iPhone users. So Epic argued that the Apple App Store on iOS and iPad OS is effectively a monopoly because it is the only app store that's allowed on the iPhone. And that Apple forces developers into unfair business agreements, including a 30%, now a 30 and 15% commission on in-app purchase sales. This would be akin to what Epic is asking for. Think of your Mac or PC desktop, where you can install a number of different stores. If you want to play video games, you can install Steam. You do have the Apple App Store and a ton of other options. Apple said, hey, look, there's plenty of competition, at least in the gaming market. You can buy the Nintendo Switch. You can buy Android phones. You can buy the Sony PlayStation. And all of these platforms have a similar fee structure and, air quotes, walled garden, or meaning a fairly curated experience where you download and install apps. So if the judge rules in favor of Epic, it could mean major changes to that iPhone store and iOS.
Usually when things like this happen, lawsuits like this, we get a little more of a window into some of these tech companies and how they work. Were there any revelations about Apple's business practices that we learned?
Yeah, Anne-Marie, we learned a lot, actually. For example, we learned that, at least according to Apple's gaming chief, in the 2 years or a little over 2 years that Fortnite, which is made by Epic Games, was on the iOS, the App Store on iPhones, it made over $100 million just for Apple. Now, once again, that is just 30% of the gross. Epic took the other 70% of that. So we learned that Fortnite made a ton of cash on iOS, and that kind of tells you a little bit about the stakes here. There's a lot of money at play. We also learned that Apple considered giving Netflix a preferential deal when the company was considering. They were also frustrated with a similar arrangement. They were considering pulling in-app purchases. Apple first talked about demoting Netflix. Then they switched tactics and gave them a ton of editorial control and featured Netflix in ways that they didn't with other apps. We also learned that the company is pretty concerned about what's happening in Europe, with very similar allegations by EU regulators that Apple is running a monopoly on Apple Music and the App Store.
That's really interesting, because I don't know how many people kind of are aware that the App Store in Europe, or even in Canada, it's a completely different app store with different apps available. Sometimes the apps that you download here in the U.S. don't work when you go to other countries. But this is, now we're talking about regulators going after Apple, which is entirely different than, another company. Does that change things a little?
Well, it's a similar type of lawsuit. So EU regulators claim that by forcing rival developers, including companies like Spotify, who've been pretty vocal about their grievances with Apple, to use its payment system and once again pay that commission, whether it's 15% or 30%, to pay a commission and have no other options, the regulators and Spotify allege. Apple is in violation of of EU antitrust laws. In fact, the EU said that, and I'm quoting here, Apple's devices and software form a closed ecosystem in which Apple controls every aspect of the user experience for iPhones and iPads. So it does sound pretty familiar, Anne-Marie.
So the judge is expected to deliver a verdict in the coming months. If he sides with Apple, I presume that nothing changes about your App Store. If he sides with Epic Games, that could be a huge shift. And I suppose could the judge also split the difference and come up with some kind of combination verdict?
Yeah, a compromise would kind of benefit Apple. So a win for Apple means a status quo or something very similar, where they control the App Store and the experience, soup to nuts, the entire iPhone, iOS, and App Store experience, or a small change that might allow some competition but isn't really disruptive competition. A win for Epic, now there are a few different victory conditions here. It could mean, if the judge sides in favor of Epic, it could mean that users are able to sideload not just apps, but app stores. This means sideload means install through other methods. And it could mean that there is a kind of a wide spectrum of markets allowed on iOS. But there's another victory condition for Epic as well, and that's brand. Look, Apple has had a fairly pristine brand over the last decade or so, especially when you look at it relative to their competitors, Facebook, Google, and others. So this could be something, it could be part of Epic's strategy to kind of scuff up Apple's brand a little bit. So even if the lawsuit doesn't rule in favor of Epic, it could be that they, air quotes, win by kind of kicking the $2 trillion company in the shins.
Interesting. Dan, thank you very much.
Great to see you.
Great to see you too. So listen, to learn more about this antitrust case, you can read Dan's full report. You can find it online at cbsnews.com.